Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto qualifier for North America, or the Americas in general. We've had a pretty fun day of StarCraft. We had a lot of good games, a couple of crazy, silly moments, and above all, a lot of mind games being thrown around the table. Yeah. And if you talk about mind games, Nate, going into the final series, when you have two guys that know each other as well as Polt and ViOlet, mind games will happen. That's inevitable.
Oh, yeah. These two guys play each other a lot. They live together, they practice together, they train together. They're two players of such high skill. They've been, they run a circuit basically in all the North American events as they both live currently in Atlanta, Georgia. Enjoying that East Coast sunshine, that East Coast humidity, and now they have to play TvZ against each other. And I'm wondering if we're going to see those mind games come into play again.
I definitely think we'll see a couple of
mind games.
I'm just going over the results real quick between these two guys. We've been casting so much StarCraft lately, it's hard to keep all the series apart from each other. But that's alright, just a couple of weeks ago, we were doing the Intel Extreme Masters TvZ qualifier from this studio, and Polt was, I would say it's a little more than a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. North America TvZ qualifier, it's a little while ago. Either way, back then, Polt was able to defeat ViOlet with a 2-1 score. And after that, they played against each other one more time, and that was MLG Anaheim winner bracket finals, where both of them, of course, had a fantastic tournament run, as they both made it through group stage play, and they both won their semi-finals. So they played against each other in the upper bracket final, and back then, Polt was able to win pretty decisively. Oh, there was that Ro2a game, which I think ViOlet should have won on Frost. On Frost?
Frost? Yeah, Frost. Okay.
Yep.
I was going to say, for some reason, there was a game on Catalina, but I'm like, that wasn't back then. Okay.
MLG Anaheim with Catalina. Nate, you went to the future, you came back, you gave them a new map.
Hey, if I went to the future, then at least that means we're going to have an MLG Anaheim next year, which would be cool.
That would be awesome.
I have no complaints with that. The future looks cool in that case.
2013, MLG Anaheim was really cool. I was just going there. Yeah, that was cool. I couldn't go the first 2 days because we're casting from the NHL studio. Rest in peace. But after that, I went on Sunday to watch the games myself. That was really cool. And of course, 2014 to be actually part of it and be on the venue.
That was the first time I met you, I think.
That's correct. Yeah. Damn, we're building bridges over here live on broadcast. All right, just making sure Polt ready. Good luck, have fun, guys.
All right, kicking it off. Some Terran versus Zerg action. TvZ's been interesting to watch lately. I sure hope ViOlet hasn't been watching Snoot's games. I'm scared to see more Zergs try that craziness, but I feel like only few Zergs could pull it off, to be honest.
Well, Nate, while I was driving to the office, you were still able to watch a couple of TvZs. But yeah, Snoot.
I was watching the Gfinity finals on the way to work today.
Yeah, if I would do that, we'd probably crash, and then neither of us would be here.
Yeah.
Every now and then, when we were watching the other day, well, it was the Muslim, right?
It's strangely relevant that you bring that up, because I feel like for this match, I might end up saying, of course he's going to go roaches.
Okay, well, yeah. This is pretty much how Nate sits next to me in the car. We're driving to the office. He's like,
how could you not think that Hyun would go roaches 4 out of 5 games?
And then Nate is casting this game in a very weird way while sitting next to me, and it's very tempting to look at his iPad, but then I don't. Because I do care about Nate's precious life.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say, right? When like a car crashes, it's often the passenger that gets.
Oh God!
So I'm doing this for yourself, Nate. Either way, over here on the left bottom side of Nimbus, we have the Zerg player who's currently living in Atlanta, together with his opponent. He's representing the CSN agency, and it's ViOlet.
Good old ViOlet.
ViOlet is going up against the Blue Terran, spawning on the right top side of Nimbus. Also living in Atlanta. Works out a little less than his opponent, but perhaps practices more in his Polt.
Polt is not jacked.
No,
he's a small guy.
Yeah, but he looks okay though.
I mean,
I had the feeling that you could see that he was been working on a little bit. Like he's not ViOlet ripped, but he's definitely in okay shape.
Yeah, he's not. I wouldn't say he's in terrible shape.
No, not at all.
Just not. He's not swole, man. He doesn't have them arms.
He's no ViOlet.
He's no ViOlet.
He's no The Rock, ViOlet, Brad Pitt, but he's like right after.
Yeah.
Alright, it's going to be a hatchery first over here. Of course, Nimbus, one of the... I think the only map in our current map pool, unless I'm like making a really obvious mistake now, but no. The only map in our current map pool that has an in-base expand, just like Altazim Stronghold had it in the last map pool rotation. And in the old days, there were a few more maps that had it.
I like this style of in-base expansion though. Like it makes the mid-late game more interesting. Like in Altazim, it's very difficult to be caught off guard by anything in that natural, like because the map, partially because the map was so big, but on this map, it's just a little bit smaller enough, and that high ground makes for some interesting late game, mid game drops, altercations, what have you. Polt's opening up with a Reaper.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Because on Altazim it was low ground, of course.
Yeah, this map is actually sick.
That
for
changes a lot.
Yeah, for my tank drops in TvT, man. It's OP. right in that lip by the geyser. Get wrecked.
Alright, SCV Scout checks out the right bottom side of the map. For everyone just joined us once more, this is going to be a best of 5. I know you guys probably wonder, like, oh, you're a best of 5, then back to best of 3. That's because this is a deciding series. So every single deciding series in a tournament bracket like this, we like to play best of 5, and up to that point, everything is best of 3. We had a lot of awesome players signed up today with guys like Suppy, Illusion, Puck, and, you know, just plenty of good players. Also some new North American talent like Bills, EJK.
Yeah, pretty much the top. I'd say pretty much the cream of the crop as far as North America goes. Some faces missing that made Premier League this season, like a Guitar Cheese, what have you, like a Neeb. Yeah. But perhaps those guys were busy.
The biggest names were there. Yeah. Pretty much.
You know what? They might actually be limited because I heard there's
age restriction.
There is an age restriction for this IEM. Reaper hasn't really killed much, hasn't taken too much damage. I know because IEM wanted to sign up for this. He's like, I actually can't play in anything except WCS.
IEM is really like the American version of X-Lord, what we had in Warcraft 3. But if he keeps being that, that's really good news, because by the time that X-Lord turned 16 and he was finally able to compete in the German National Championship, he immediately won it for the first 2 years in a row. Or the two seasons in a row, excuse me. So if IEM keeps going like this, by the time that he's 16, he should win all IEM qualifiers, X-Lord style.
These Reapers are putting on a nice bit of pressure. I actually really like, with the way that ViOlet has opened up Gasless, that it's a 3 Reaper opening, because there are a reasonable number of areas where these Reapers can poke in, and most importantly, delay a third base. Like ViOlet, he's taking 2 geysers now. When I look at the setup of this game overall, like ViOlet being in a position to go for a heavy Roach play off of 2 bases, which... I mean, if there's anything that ViOlet has shown us, he usually takes a third base. Like, he's done this build so many times where he takes a third base and then goes with the Roaches, but he doesn't go full Hyun. He doesn't actually build 30 Roaches, just like 21 or 20. Still a lot.
Yeah,
but,
still quite a few Roaches, Nate.
He's that guy that he's that guy that makes you that like says, "Oh, it's just some light Roach pressure," you know.
It's like, bro, you made 22 Roaches. You're up a 50 supply and it's all in Roach.
So, yeah, well, you know, I'm just a little bit of Roach pressure, baby.
Of course, Polt has traditionally been a guy that's always opened up with a couple of Marauders very early on. Whoa, these Queens actually going to town on these Reapers. Did 2 Reapers fall? No, just a single Reaper went down. The other Reaper is having an epic little fight with a couple of Zerglings over here on the bottom side of the map. However, picking up a Reaper, that's very good, nice, and good news for ViOlet. That's a pickup that you normally won't get, so that's going to make this pressure a little bit easier to deal with, but if there's one map where it's easy to deal with, it's probably this, because it's so wide open.
Yep, Roach Warren and Double Evolution Chamber on the way, though, while the lair is coming in, so this can only mean one thing, Rotterdam.
Interesting Evolution Chamber Roach Warren placement. I guess it doesn't really matter where you build it over here.
It's like this map is so weird for walling that you just don't wall that giant ramp.
I think if I would build it anywhere, I probably wouldn't put it here. Because
it looks like a great place to drop.
Yeah, tanks are in range from here, and tanks are in range from the high ground. So it's like, come on, I would rather just get my buildings over here.
Well, you know, it's not where this Reaper would run by. Well, no, now it is. Sees the Roach Warren, sees the Evolution Chambers. Now he sees the lair as the natural, which is super important.
I think it just threw down a scan as well, literally like 3 seconds before that.
1-1 is on the way. This Reaper shouldn't actually be able to kill anything, but now Polt knows. Now, is he going to do what every other Terran player does and just die really quickly? He's actually going super fast up his 5 barracks. This I like. And I like that he's building everything onto existing reactors and starting to build Marauders. I would love to have him put maybe 3 or 4 bunkers, like right at the bottom of that ramp area, across where the third base is going to be as well.
Pulling a small bomber as well, Nate. He's going to try to fire up a siege tank as soon as possible, but he has to wait. He's been supply blocked for a solid 12 seconds.
For a man without a starport, siege tanks are expensive, and yeah, he's been actually supply blocked.
Yeah, he was supply blocked for like 12 to 14 seconds. He could have. This tank could have already been halfway done. But other than that, everything looks good. ViOlet is saturating his third base. He's already squeezing a few drones. It's going to be 16 roaches for now, and I think that's pretty much all for ViOlet. I think after that he's going to make a few more drones.
Yeah, that's
And
the ViOlet way. ViOlet generally not. I mean, he three more roaches. He really wants to raise the roof on this one, huh? It's a lot of roaches to build.
Oh, he's getting ventral sacks, Nate.
No. Okay.
He's actually gonna go full-on roach drop into the main base.
You know what? This could actually be brilliant because Polt's kind of like right now. Polt didn't really kill too many drones, but Polt's building bunkers around kind of the place where I was thinking. I would still like to see 1 or 2 more here, like to be perfectly safe.
The only problem with roach drop is that often like roaches trickle in one by one, and then if there are like a line of marauders over here just shooting all these roaches that are like.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he roach drops. Like, ideally, you would drop. I think you should drop in the natural and then try to kill SCVs and then just move in and out, or like do something really weird. But attacking directly at the front, this should be enough of a defense.
And there's no way this roach is gonna bust through this.
Polt has opened with a build that is designed to not die to this attack, and that's usually the only way that Terran players hold. But he needs to be careful because you really actually cannot trade your bio against roaches at this point. Because if that next swell comes in, suddenly you're just going to get overwhelmed and then you're just dead.
There are 2 siege tanks, the 3rd one is on the way, and the marauder count is currently up to 4, I believe. He's making the 5th one. I think he's double.
This isn't even going to be a full-on roach, like, doom drop. He's just going to drop, like, these 8 roaches in. Actually, you quite like this. Only 2 overlords are being sent over, and Ventral
just to kill a lot of SCVs against his sort of immobile tank army.
This is brilliant, because he's getting his 2/2 upgrades, and he's also getting tunneling claws, which is going to make things interesting. Now, I think this scan from Polt, he really needs to recognize that Roach Horn is still wiggling, because that means he is getting burrow, which means, yes, my opponent's sticking on roaches, and there's a Hydro Stun on the production tab now.
Yeah, he has done this before. Like, I think that game that they played on Frost was so beautiful. Also, did ViOlet with a lot of tech switches back then. Excellent creep spread. So far, that is slacking a tiny bit, but it's only the 12-minute mark, and he's already getting it out there. Couple of roaches will get picked up, and a couple of roaches will get picked up over here as well.
Roaches everywhere at once. This is a bit awkward. I'd like to see a couple of those roach drops.
The tanks are going to kill the SCVs as well with splash damage, no?
Yeah.
Unless...
Is he going to drop them into the main? That's also not a bad idea. He's in the natural. He kills that missile turret. He can burrow. Burrows moves away from the outer area.
Cool play by ViOlet. Very, very cool play so far. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I already like it. This is definitely like style points.
ViOlet's just hitting everywhere at once. This is really frustrating to deal with as a Terran player. ViOlet's supply crazy high. Of course, it isn't roaches. He's going to scan and stim, but he actually can't even kill all these burrowed roaches just yet, which makes things doubly awkward.
So far, very good defense by Polt as well, though, Nate.
Yeah, but ViOlet's still in the main, dancing around. Polt's doing okay. Some of these roaches still alive. That is really frustrating.
I think Polt is doing really good, especially considering the fact that ViOlet is not sitting on 4 bases. It's not like he's on 4 bases and 89 drones or something like that. It's a 3-base Zerg with 66 drones.
Polt should still be okay against a direct assault, mostly because he retained his tank count. He didn't actually lose any tanks, which I'd say are the most important units for defending these types of pushes. But there's the Unburrow, and this is where ViOlet just says, I will actually become the most annoying Zerg player.
He should try to kill his missile turret as well.
Yeah.
Immediately prioritizes
I like it.
on that.
Yeah, kill a missile turret, burrow. He's going to force another scan, and when you're losing workers, the last thing you want to do is have to scan. He scans on the left side. These roaches unburrow, run away. They can reburrow. He's got more roaches. Actually, he's going to run up and snipe a siege tank.
Yeah.
Going to snipe 2 tanks. This is exactly what ViOlet wants. There's only 2 other siege tanks, I guess. One just finished in the main base. He will lose. Like, he's actually bleeding out quite a few roaches. But when you're doing this style, when you're playing like this, the Terran player can't really leave their base. And that's the biggest strength of this style.
It's really interesting, and it's definitely beautiful what ViOlet is showing us so far.
Roaches.
And I think against the Terran, Nate, with inferior multitasking, this would be absolutely phenomenal. But obviously, Polt has what it takes to keep up with him. You know, Polt is a Terran that's been all over the place for multiple years. Couple of mules being dropped.
And it's
4
like,
mules.
Well, have fun trying to scan now, big boy, when you just dropped all those mules. I guess you still have a scan. Friendly fire is real. Actually, he's killed quite a few of his own Marines with those tanks.
And one mule did survive. But still, though, I picked up 3 mules immediately. That really helps, because that's going to slow Polt down a little bit. It's going to make it a lot harder for Polt to just run across the map with a big bioforce and fight before ViOlet is ready.
Polt
because now, of course, we have Vipers on the way.
Polt spent a lot of money replacing SCVs as well. He lost about 34 SCVs this game. And now the Vipers are coming out. All he really needs is a decent spread with his Roach Hydra and 1 or 2 blinding clouds on the tanks. And Polt is actually, he's leaving the tanks at home. I personally love to do this because you really can't discount just how important the mobility on Bio is, but this is not enough supply, I think, to take a head-on engagement versus this Max Roach Hydra army.
It's in position as well. Polt's going to try to do something about this fourth base from ViOlet.
These Hydras need to get up here. Just fighting with the Roaches alone is not going to cut it. Okay, now they show up, kill a medevac, and suddenly Polt's in a really awkward spot. He does have an army moving towards the right side, but there's no base there to pick off just yet. And the creep spread is
A couple of these fights are really okay for Polt, though, because these Roaches are getting ahead of the Hydras. Then all the Roaches die, and then Polt turns around and suddenly, like, just runs away again after he kills a Roach. So he's doing a very good job in that regard. But he's going to have to be very careful. Polt just above all wants to buy time for himself. He wants to get an army supply that's way closer to the one of ViOlet.
Yeah, +3 is on the way now for
Ooh,
ViOlet.
this is a very unfortunate
This is scary
location.
because if he loads up now, the Abducts have a very big opportunity here to just wipe 10 supply off the map. Get over here. Tries to pull it up.
This one guy's like, hey. Wow.
he's like, guys, I thought we were getting off here.
Guys, they always do this to me. They always tell me it's time and then it's not.
Oh, that feeling you're getting hazed, man. It's not fun.
Polt is going to try to drop again on the left side of the map. Of course, all jokes aside, he just ended up losing 20 supply of bio units over there, unloading. A kind of a weird moment to unload as well, though, in all honesty. On top of creep, with overlords and an army chasing you, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. ViOlet is going to try to run in. He will drop a blinding cloud or two. Now he's actually going to go for Abducts. He might have enough, Nate. He might have enough to just break Polt over here.
Yeah, there's so much firepower in this army. Polt being bullied back towards that third base, and he does have a big counter trap going on. He's going to try to snipe the hive. I actually really like this play, ViOlet. He's got 25 Roaches coming in, so they're going to try to hold on back home, and if they can stop that big drop, well, then maybe there's a chance, but he needs to rebuild his lair. He's got 3 Vipers on the way. That's all the other hive tech he's going to be able to get.
The problem with this play, though, is, Nate, that he needed these bio units at home. As cool as his drop is, and yeah, killing the hive is awesome, he just lost pretty much everything he had in his natural, and above all, he lost his third base. So he's sitting on 2 bases now that are pretty much mined out. He didn't drop a whole lot of Muse in these 2 bases yet, so I guess it will run on for a little bit longer. He might be able to get the 4th base to transfuse, 2nd transfuse, but it's not going to be enough. It still falls. However, you know, Polt is going to starve himself out if this game keeps going like this.
Yeah, Polt's doing that thing where he's just trying to snipe bases left and right. The tank count still, I guess, maybe lost 1 or 2 more than I thought. I thought he saved 1 earlier, but I guess the economy actually is really hurting him, huh?
Tanks are expensive, Nate.
Tanks are expensive.
No Marines. No 8 tanks on your production tab.
Maybe someday. Well, he's got enough Vipers to Blinding Cloud for days, which is really all he needs. The Abducts are interesting choices. Like, Blinding Cloud works really well too. But
yeah, but these are guaranteed kills.
Yeah,
I kind of like this.
He's got way too much. And look at this, even burning the Roaches, he's gonna just move them straight up.
What a beautiful game number 1 by ViOlet, as Polt will call GG. Really cool style with the Roaches, drops a couple of Roaches all over the place. Is as annoying as possible with Thunder and Claws, while meanwhile getting Hydralisk up, getting Hive eventually up as well, and then using the Vipers to seal the deal. That was just really solid play by ViOlet from start to finish. And you said it as well, you know, like dealing with those Roaches, the 1-1 Roach timings, it is very good if you go for a build that's literally designed to deal with it. But then, of course, what if your opponent doesn't commit as much as Xian likes to do the majority of the time? Then suddenly you're looking at a different ball game. It was just really well played, I think, by our ViOlet.
Yeah, ViOlet had a very interesting strategy, and the most important component of the way that ViOlet played was he simply... Like, you kind of mentioned this in the last game. Polt multitasking is phenomenal. But he just made a multitask at home. So you can't attack me, no multi-prong drops. No, I'm going to multi-prong drop you with Roaches. And it actually worked out really well, because you cannot pull SCVs versus Roaches. Does not work.
No, and I think the most important thing as well is, like, as good as that drop by Polt was when it finally did happen, you know, the double medevac drop, he really needed those units at home. If he has 2 medevacs full of bio units at home, there is a small chance that he might be able to hold that push. Now, of course, normally you don't just want to sit back as a Terran player. You do want to make stuff happen out on the map. As both of them, I believe, are ready. They said good luck and fun, so I'm just going to fire up game number 2. I always want to make sure that they are really ready. It's going to be played on King Sejong Station, by the way, but, you know, Polt just never had that much freedom that he would be really safe at home and be able to drop at the same time. And that's, of course, all credit to ViOlet for forcing out so many scans, and of course killing more than a handful of SCVs as well, and resetting the tank count over and over again, which gives takes away of that safety feeling, and above all, just takes away of being much more safe in general.
You can't move out against an army like that unless you have like 6 to 8 siege tanks, which don't think he ever really went more than 5.
No.
And even then, there were Vipers already out on the map, so having to use your tanks defensively, not gonna cut it. We're loaded into map number 2, guys, as you can see. King Sejong Station, and when I look at this series overall prior to the start, I like Polt to win it, but this guy, if he keeps pulling builds out as crazy as that, he has a chance. In the top left, a red Zerg player representing the CSN agency, it is ViOlet. He's played pretty well. Crazy builds like that are what I like to see. That is...
Yeah, ViOlet is, I think, has always been one of the most entertaining Zerg players out there. Ever since he won that very first tournament. Of course, ViOlet is an IEM champion, something that Polt is not, correct? I don't think Polt has ever
Polt's
won.
come close.
Yeah, I mean, Coloni was the runner-up.
Yeah.
I don't think Polt has actually ever won an IEM.
No. His triple crown was for...
He won Aces.
Yeah.
He won WCS America 2 times. He won MLG. He won GSL Super Tournament.
What was the Aces the only tournament he won in Europe? Was there something else that he won?
I'm pretty sure he won. Didn't he win a DreamHack too? He was the runner-up behind TvZ. Polt has won so many tournaments though.
It's hard to keep track.
Yep. He won MLG Anaheim as well, 2013.
Yeah. Also had a lot of good runs. Deep history playing in non-Korean tournaments especially, but this is certainly not going to be an easy match for him, as he now has to win 3 out of the next 4 games if he wants to go to Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. And even if he doesn't qualify, I imagine he might go anyway.
Yeah.
Play in the open bracket.
Exactly. Atlanta to Toronto, that's very doable. That's probably shorter than this from here to Toronto.
It's just a lot nicer when you can start off in the groups.
Yep.
And not that very risky dual tournament.
And you don't have to refresh F5 to see who is actually participating in the open bracket. And you're like, oh, okay, okay, no, wait, Caspa, stop, Caspa, don't come. Either way, Reaper is on the way for Polt, as you know, this is also a map where ViOlet has busted out quite a bit of Roach Hydra play in the last few months, and wouldn't be shocked to see him do it.
You know, if he follows in his Roach brother Hyun's footsteps, there could be a lot of roaches on this map. I think.
Like, it would be actually kind of a good play by ViOlet to this game, instead of like showing up with the 20 roaches, just go like all out and try to make like 33, 35 as soon as possible. And, you know, unless Polt goes for the exact same build, it's going to be super hard to stop that on King Sejong.
So you know what made Polt's build more able to hold off against that attack?
Well, I think
the last game?
The 5 racks and the tanks.
Yeah, but he cut his Hellions too. He didn't build more than like two or four Hellions, whereas most players like to go up to 6 or 8. And it's usually the biggest weakness because you just don't have that reactor pumping out Marines quickly enough.
And it could have been awesome if he maybe, like, he lost that 1 Reaper. Now, 1 Reaper would probably not change the outcome of that game. But if you keep your Reapers alive, the moment that those roaches stream across the map, then sometimes you can swing in with your Hellions and Reapers and actually do economic damage to the Zerg player. Yeah. And then if you just stabilize at home, then suddenly you're in a much better position.
I think with how far back a Zerg player sets themselves behind when they open with a Roach 1-1 attack that doesn't kill you, like, the whole point of the Roach 1-1 is not just to kill players. It's to deny a third base of a Terran so that they don't have enough income to actually get tanks and upgrades and medevacs to hold off the 2-2 Roach Hydra timing. Like there's so many different levels that this build that a lot of Zerg players have been doing can hit. As a Terran, your primary focus, like even if you kill some drones, if they deny your third and get into your natural, it almost doesn't matter because the Zerg player is going to refresh that base with like 1 wave of larva, and if they kill all your workers and you can't take your third, then they've like succeeded. So it's very tricky to deal with, and that's primarily why the vast majority of Terran players that we see in broadcasted matches just instantly die to it. But Polt knows how ViOlet plays. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, but then again, even like sometimes when you know each other so well, you're also starting to freak yourself out because you think like you know most of his builds, but then you also have no idea what he's going to do. And you're going to think, you know, it's like poker, like, oh, he knows that I know. And then suddenly it's like you suddenly drive yourself crazy. Like he knows that I know that he's going to do that, so he's probably not going to do that, right? It's always like if you play multiple PvPs in a row, it's the exact same ball game. So
yeah.
look at this, a 6-minute 40-second layer for actually it's not that fast. It's kind of standard. Reaper's going to try to squeeze into the main base. He's going to hop out. Oh, he saw it.
This layer timing asks for fast muta, which is a refreshing change of pace. Yeah, he's gonna go for mutas. He needs to start his Ro2a either right now or like 10 seconds ago.
But he's not gonna. He's gonna go 3 bases super, not super quickly, but relatively quickly. Stim is already on the way for Polt. It's a different setup, I feel, than in the previous game. We have just 4 Hellions once more, so it's 4 Hellions. Did the Reapers
Now
die?
this is a situation where you would want to run your Hellions in to die, like, and that's exactly what Polt's gonna do. He knows. He's like, you don't have Zergling speed, because he saw those slowlings, he killed them. He's like, obviously you're being greedy.
Oh my god.
And he actually does start up a Roach Warren, so it's just going to be a little bit late Roach speed, but I mean, this is Polt just perfectly taking advantage of the weakness of a build like this. There's a reason why you want to get all that other stuff set up first, and killing your own rocks when you're gonna have Zergling speed is honestly just a little bit silly.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, how did that even? Zerglings were just nibbling away
It's
at
like,
it
I have a wall. Let me crack open the other side of my house, though, just to make sure I don't have a wall somewhere. It's like, well,
It's like lock the front door while the backyard is open.
yeah.
Like, well,
front door's locked, security system. Back door, you just prop it open with like a rake. It's like, no, man, come on in.
+1 missile attack still being researched for ViOlet, but needless to say, that's going to set him back a little bit. A grand total of 17 drones gone down, and above all, these Hellions force out a lot of slow Zerglings.
All these slow Zerglings coming over to Polt's natural.
They're like, hey guys, so these Hellions did a lot of damage on the other side of the map. We're here to do the same.
Can I kill some SCVs, please?
Please. We'll
So
leave again.
No, it's not really how it works, ViOlet.
I
mean, Polt just like flies by. He's like, man, that's so pathetic. I can't even kill those units.
He's like, I could drop these bio units, but nah.
I'm pretty sure this would be animal cruelty to kill slowlings like this with my Stim Marines.
Said slowlings are gonna try to break this ramp, but nope, that's not gonna happen either. This is one tank that's been left behind. This Overlord will get picked off as well in the middle of the map, and needless to say, Polt finds himself in a very good position. Now ViOlet needs to find a very thin line between somehow squeezing out enough roaches and somehow squeezing out enough drones. But I'm not sure how you're supposed to do that when Polt starts knocking on your front door. And he is going to capitalize on any opportunity where you're not having enough units.
Yeah, I think this is Polt just doing Polt now. And I really like his position in this game. The 1-1 is going to complete soon, but as you can see, he's still squeezing out a few drones, which means he knows he doesn't think he can actually kill Polt. Now he's squeezing out a lot of drones.
Yeah. I mean, he has to. Like, the original attack has been delayed by solid 2 minutes, and that's just not going to cut it anymore, no matter how good it is.
And he just starts roach speed. Like, for some reason I thought he already had it on the way. Well, that's not going to work. He's getting in right to an infestation pit. I'm actually not sure what to expect from this game anymore now.
I think he just tried to catch up in the economic game. He made just the bare minimum amount of roaches to deal with the first Stim bio attack. Or not really attack, but more like harassment. So he has a couple of roaches to fall back on. Then still squeezing out as many drones as possible, and just then actually like prioritizing upgrades, I guess.
I wonder if he's going to go swarm hosts. Oh, okay, there's the Hydro Sun. Alright, now it makes a little bit more sense to me. Okay, well, the third base was delayed a little bit, but not significantly.
They'll slow Zerglings, man. Even when you think they don't pose a threat. Wow, I was about to ask you this, but then I was like, nah, I'm not going to, because then I'll look really silly, and it looks like I know nothing about TvZ. I was like, is there a chance he's going to play Roach Hydra Infestor, and he's going to try to land some sick fungos?
Yeah, Infestor's in red.
Double
Hydra. He wants some upgrades. Hydrosten's build so fast, why not?
You sure it's not a mistake? I mean, like, I understand double...
well, both Hydralisk upgrades, actually, I mean, the Muscular Augments takes a little bit. You need both upgrades super fast to deal with Polt right now anyway. But I'm still really worried, because these Marines and Marauders step right up. Should try to get that Queen. You gotta stop that creep spread. But
like, he has still not fired up his first one, unless he just waits for it and he wants to fire up both at the same time.
That would be an interesting mistake, maybe. Maybe it is a mistake. I can see why you would do double Hydralisk then, though. Like, if ViOlet started both upgrades right now, like, I would be like, yeah, this is just him trying to get both upgrades because he knows he's going to be stretched thin.
But, like, if you have one Hydralisk then and you're not using it to research one upgrade for the first minute.
Yeah, then that's a little bit awkward.
It's like, now this first upgrade could have already been pretty much done.
It's
Then again,
difficult
hey,
to get upgrades when you're spending all your gas on infestors, though.
if he ever loses his Hydralisk, then at least he
He's
has
got
a
a back.
backup.
He has got the Hydralisk Den insurance policy. Good for one loss of Hydralisk Den.
No matter what happens to it, thanks Medivac Morales,
You'll still be able to make Hydralisks.
for only $1.99 a month. Oh. Alright, Hive is halfway down, but Polt's pressure is starting to become more and more serious. The scans will go down, creep is being pushed back, overlords are being picked off left and right. We still have not seen a single Hydralisk Den upgrade go down, as there is a Spire on the production tab now as well. He's getting a lot of infrastructure for, you know, the economy that he's working with.
Yep. Oh, there's one fungal, though. He's going to try to move in on this army. These Hydralisks are here, too. Makes it pretty awkward. He's going to kill the medevac, which is also nice. You know, I just realized... This, I guess the Viking doesn't really have too much vision. He's got like parked like an overlord. Like anything that goes by it, you actually wouldn't be able to see it without an overlord. It's pretty funny. It's like a very Zerg thing to do. Roaches are working away on the rocks by the natural of Polt. He's actually going to run straight into these units. Maybe kill an infestor, not bad.
He actually could kill these Hydras as well, because he still has the medevac over here.
Yeah, the stims are real though.
That was a very bad anti-drop squad there by ViOlet. Like really anti-drop squad, and then everything died. There's a lot of stim buyer on the left side of the map as well that's starting to work their way through on this sport base of ViOlet. And his hatchery is actually just going to fall, just like that. No real effort, no units lost, no casualties either for Polt. And he still has his army on the right side of the map as well. Gets 4 infestors for free. Things are just going from bad to worse for ViOlet. There's really not a whole lot he can work with anymore.
Yeah. Polt is just not making mistakes. He's actually getting drilling claws while building siege tanks. So he's going to go marine, mine, tank. And I actually like this because if you try to run up on siege tanks, then those widow mines completely annihilate your whole entire army. So that's one way to do it. But there's one thing that counters everything on the map right now that Polt has.
Broodlord.
Broodlord Infestor. He's making a lot of corruptors. Widow mines are here, but drilling claws isn't done yet, so they shouldn't actually have time to burrow. Yeah, they're going to get kind of sniped off. Even one detonating is quite... Oh, wow. That friendly fire. So he's going to kill the Roach Hydra Force off, but the Greater Spire is not done yet, and it takes about 34, 37 seconds for a Corruptor to become a Broodlord. So he's got a lot of time now because there's absolutely nothing on the map right now that can actually fight for ViOlet.
Nope. I think the unit's lost resource tab tells the entire tale of this game. It's just not been a successful game for ViOlet. 9,300 resources lost for him. 4,900 for Polt. If this was Wings of Liberty, Nate, then I might believe. But it's not.
He doesn't. The infestors are not that good in Heart of the Storm.
And he actually lost most of them as well. Let's not forget about that. No, it's not just the fact that the infestors are not
Does he actually have any infestors left?
Nope, he has 0.
No.
He still doesn't have Hydra speed, by the way, either.
Yeah, double Hydralisk Den. Never get Hydra speed. Feels.
The field train. I wasn't ready for it. More buy units working their way through, and ViOlet knows what time it is. As GG is called, and Polt is going to even up the series 1 each after winning on King Sejong Station with, well, a very funky Hellion run by, and not the one that we expect.
No, definitely not the one we were expecting. It was,
you know,
honestly, like, I could try to analyze that game, but 99% of the time, I've actually never seen a Zerg player break their own rocks open that fast without Zergling speed. So, or Roach is already on the map. Yep. So, I feel like ViOlet's like, well, how do you defend Hellion run-bys? Build a wall. Get queens by the wall. He had a wall. He had queens by the wall. He just broke open another wall that he didn't need to, and Hellions ran in and killed everything.
You know, often in the start of the game, you know, we ask each other the questions like, what are you expecting for King Sejong Station? Nate, I was a little bit disappointed that you did not expect ViOlet to break down his own wall in the back and Hellion sneak big and kill 17 Zerg.
You know, sometimes some people call me the Terran Oracle, but I have to say I did not see that one coming. Did not see that one coming.
Gonna let the players know that we are ready when they are. So the best of 5 has just turned into a best of 3. The winner will get an all-paid trip to Toronto and, of course, seed into the main event. So you don't have to make your way through that open bracket, which I think in Toronto, Nate, should be pretty stacked. I think there's going to be a lot of local talent. Expecting a couple of good Koreans to make the journey over as well as we're getting closer and closer to BlizzCon. For some guys, it might be like, hey, you know what? I think I should actually just try my luck in WCS North America, or WCS America. Plenty of them are trying their luck, but I should try my luck in the Intel Extreme Masters in North America.
Well, some of them are getting smacked down by the Americans this season.
Alright, Polt is ready, ViOlet is ready. I'm just gonna wish both players good luck and fun. Our next map is going to be played on Overgrowth. Like we said, a best of 3. This could be the second last map of the day, but hopefully it's the third last map of the day. It's been a very fun broadcast. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it as well. Make sure to follow IEM at twitter.com/IEM and give him a like on Facebook, facebook.com/IEM. It's awesome to see how well those pages have grown over the years. Like I said earlier today, Nate, I remember when they had like 5,000 or 6,000 likes or 4,000 likes on IEM Facebook. I was one of the first likers. I like to think that I'm an IEM Facebook liker hipster.
I liked it before liking it was a thing.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't all that mainstream. Either way, we are loaded into the next map. Right now, over 250,000 people enjoy the Intox Stream Masters. Well, probably even more than that, but have liked it on Facebook. And that is, of course, super awesome. I want to keep them going. And if you guys want to tweet at us, you can always do that at #IEM. We always filter out the tweets. A couple of the tweets are being shown on the broadcast as well. So if you want your 30 seconds of fame, or maybe just the start of a glorious Twitter career, I feel, Nate, there are a couple of community members who've done such a good job in tweeting non-stop that right now they are kind of like a thing to follow on Twitter. Even though they aren't really, you know, they're not a player, they're not a manager, they're not a caster, they're not an observer, they're just a dedicated StarCraft fan with good tweets who have made a name for themselves by tweeting.
They've made a name for themselves by expressing their feelings on Twitter.
Yes. I think it's awesome. I follow a couple of dedicated fans. I think their tweets are interesting.
You know, I consider myself a pretty reserved guy, so sometimes I like to see the really edgy ones, you know. Those are the best.
Yeah, there are a couple of salty tweeters out there as well. But they're funny. Because they make the type of jokes that we can't really get away with.
That's true.
Either way, over here on the left bottom side of Overgrowth, we have the red Zerg player representing the season agency. He is ViOlet. ViOlet going up against his buddy. In a weird way, I could say his teammate, even though Polt is representing a different sponsor as well. But they're both representing the CSN agency. But of course, Polt is also representing Cooler Master Storm. I've already said it. I always do that. It's Polt. I should just keep it plain and simple. I should put a Ro2a. Like Ro2a's introduction would be like, Overlord.
Ro2a's introduction would be, why aren't you doing the introduction?
And yeah, here, Blue Terran, it's Polt.
It's Polt?
Polt actually did a really good job at Battlegrounds Atlanta. His introductions, they became better and better. I put him on the spot a little bit.
He always makes me do like impressions when I have to introduce. I don't think I've ever actually like had the pleasure of casting with him when he actually introduced something. I'll have to make him do that next time.
At Battlegrounds Atlanta, I made him do it, and then like I made him redo it, and he started to get really good at it. And after that, he was starting to get into it. I was
He's
like,
got to get
damn.
hyped, man.
No, he thought was hyped. Thought got the crowd hyped as well. A Frenchie getting the Atlantans hyped. Thought I would never see it, but it happened.
Yeah.
Either way, there's an extractor on the way, and gas being mined as well for ViOlet, as he's going to fire up his first few Zerglings, just to make sure that this Reaper won't get a drone kill, which it doesn't deserve.
No. I mean, that Reaper might have earned it in some other way. Who knows,
Yeah.
man? I don't know if you could say the Reaper can't deserve it. It would whether he's able to or not.
I don't think he deserved it. Why would he deserve a drone kill?
I don't know.
Like, did he get proxied? Did he get rushed out? Was he destined? No.
Maybe he had an outstanding service record in the barracks before he was trained.
He just started. We don't care about what happens in the barracks. We care about what happens on the battlefield.
This is the fastest Roach Horn. Is he actually in a 7 Roach Rush? Is this happening? This is actually like 7 Roach Rush level of Roach.
Yeah, there's no Zergling speed yet, so baiting nest wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense unless you want to run slow Zerglings across the map.
Oh, this is
This
is
going to
like
be roaches.
Yeah, this is ye old Roach shove. This is like that build that I would like lose to when I was in like Platinum League. But I think the thing is, it's so uncommon that Terran players open up so greedy. This could actually work.
Is this the 4-gate of Zerg?
Kind of. Yeah, actually, much like a 4-gate, it is countered by a bunker.
Like most things early game.
Like most things in life, it is countered by a bunker.
Bunker that is getting repaired, though. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't repair the bunker, then it can still fall. 10 roaches are on the production tab for our Zerg player. So far, Polt has no idea. He saw gas being mined. Now, if you guys wonder, like, hey, why is Polt sending his Reapers at home? 6 minutes, 10 seconds.
Because he doesn't know. Yeah, exactly.
This is normally when you expect Zergling speed to finish up, you know, between 5:55 and 6:15 is very
sending
standard.
out one of these Reapers, though, is so smart.
But he's going to send a detour. No, he's going to send the middle of the map, Polt.
And now
he's going to see the slow Zerglings. He's like, okay.
Waddle, waddle, waddle.
Oh, that's smart by ViOlet as well. He's doing first the slow Zerglings before he shows the Roaches. That's a few extra seconds,
There's
Nate.
a Marauder on the way. Polt always loves to make the anchor, but is it going to be enough? That's the question.
Polt.
That's the most popular question whenever any of
Let's
this
follow
happens.
Polt's vision. Polt checks. Polt's like, oh, gonna have to repair my bunker, right?
Yeah,
or
he's
my
just
supply
gonna crash.
depot.
You can't repair a building that's not done, you fool. He's going to come in and try to, I think, just focus down workers usually is what you want to do. Like,
bunker is going to fall.
Oh,
okay.
that's nice. If you get that Marauder, that'd be a nice pickup.
But
Even though roaches are roaches, like there's still enough firepower here to actually kill all of this off. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Especially since the Marauder's alive. Like, there you go, one down.
Look at this guy. This guy is destined for greatness. He's LeBron James in the summertime. He's working hard. He's killing roaches like it's nothing. This one Reaper is somehow surviving as well.
Nothing but a thing.
Good job on the second Marauder. Of course, it's so important that Polt had Marauder in the first place.
Only 5 worker kills.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
ViOlet is going to try to go up to 3 bases to somehow make up for the damage that he did to his own
And
economy.
he's going to get a lair, and he's going to get evolution chambers, and you know what? He's going to go for a 1-1 timing.
Let's not forget though, Nate, that there's still a couple of Hellions out on the map as well, which could be tricky for ViOlet to deal with, because ViOlet used up most of his roaches already. Now he's going to fire up 6 more. He's on 41 drones. How many roaches can one make on 41 drones? Well, quite a few, but not as many as on 51. Especially not if you want to get 1-1 upgrades and you want to get roach speed.
Yeah, and this is... He starts roach speed before any of the other upgrades.
I wonder if he even wants the upgrades.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling that he doesn't.
I think it's a trick.
You would start your 1-1 before roach speed because, I mean, those upgrades simply take longer.
Yep.
They need to be started earlier to line them up.
Unless ViOlet just wants to take this to a macro game after all, but...
With 7 more roaches in the production tab, I find that slightly hard to believe.
Yep, so most likely he's not even going to use the evolution chambers, which is probably a correct call. So if the first attack was a semi all-in and it's followed up by the big one, as 12 more roaches are on the way, ViOlet is going to fire up speed. Polt doesn't have a bunker anymore. He does have a nice little wall. He's still producing Marauders, correct? Yeah, he's at 3
Well, he
Marauders
just
now.
started building barracks, a lot of them, and he just started building an add-on with his only other barracks.
I like how ViOlet is doing this again. He's just pushing these Hellions away with just 4 roaches for now.
But Polt's no fool. He's going to start a bunker. He's going to start a siege tank. And the Viking is still just hacking and whacking away at all these overlords in the sky.
Yeah, he has like 3 more to work on as well. He's the one over here on the right bottom side of the map. Polt always does this. So we're looking at 25 roaches, and this is one of those scenarios in the past, Nate, where I've said like, but this is not gonna work. Polt is so well prepared. And then suddenly it works. So I don't want to make that mistake again. But I do really like Polt's position with the bunker, with the wall, with the SCVs, and above all this siege tank, which you can just park not too close, but also not too far away. I have a hard time imagining that ViOlet's gonna make it work, but maybe he will.
Yeah, he's coming in. There's a lot of roaches here, of course. The tank's starting to wail away. Those Marauders stimming. The bunker is full of Marauders that are also stimming. And these roaches, actually, the SCVs that are pulled are holding the roaches in place.
Well done.
Yeah,
Good
just
repair there.
smashes this down. GG Polt. 1 game away from a qualification spot at the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto.
ViOlet busting out a couple of weird openings over here in game number 3. Perhaps a little tilted after how King Sejong Station played out. Of course, wasn't really able to execute the playstyle that he wanted to go for. Wasn't really able to go for the strat that he had in mind, because, you know, if you lose 17 drones or 17 SCVs or 17 probes for that matter, whatever you wanted to do, most likely you can put a big cross to it.
Yeah.
Because if your build is going to work after losing 17 probes, well, then David Kim is already aware of it, and it will be patched. So this is not going to happen. Perhaps that's why he went for a little crazy build over here on Overgrowth. But that's not going to work either. ViOlet's going to have to recollect himself and keep his head cool, because if ViOlet loses this game, then Polt is going to get the seed into the main event. Now, of course, Polt is already in a very good position when it comes to WCS points and the rankings. But this is just going to make his life even sweeter. We'll take a very quick look at the WCS ranking, just because we can, Nate. Let's take a look at it, right? Shall we?
Sure, why not? Players are ready to go, by the way.
Oh, okay. I don't think I'm the host. I am the host.
You are the host.
I just
No
want to
worries.
double check now if they're ready again, because I'm afraid.
It's all good.
I am really impatient.
I'm all over it. Polt's rank 6, man.
Okay, that's kind of what I had in mind. All right, both players are ready, so I'm going to fire up game number 4 of the finals. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I had quite some viewers, actually, like over 13,000 for a qualifier. That's awesome.
Right after that Gfinity tournament ended,
Yeah.
like, you guys are just like, you have like a giant buffet of StarCraft.
You know why I fit so well in this scene is because I feel that StarCraft 2 is just a scene of degenerates. Like, everybody is just,
We're all
like,
just like,
addicted to StarCraft.
It's like, oh, you just had 5 plates. May I have more?
Yeah. It is actually like the amount of StarCraft thrown at people lately. It's cool, and you can still get the same people watching as well. Same tweet, like, yeah, I watched that. Hey, I watched that too. I watched that too.
We're all addicts of StarCraft. Simple as that.
Ah, well, it's a good thing to be addicted of, guys. Could be a lot worse. Just tell your mom that when she's complaining about the time spending behind the PC.
You're staying up till 5 a.m. to watch Koreans play StarCraft against each other?
All right, Mom, I'll just go downtown then and hang out with the bad boys. Never mind, son. You go play some StarCraft. You're okay.
What was that new keyboard you wanted?
Try it, guys. Let us know if it works. Hashtag IEM. Over here at 6 o'clock position of merry-go-round, we have a blue Terran player. Representing Cooler Master Storm, it is Polt. Currently up 2-1 over his buddy. The ripped, handsome, charming, charismatic, and above all, unpredictable Zerg player, who is, of course, a ViOlet, playing under the barcode.
I've enjoyed the variety of build orders that ViOlet has shown us today.
Yeah, no, I especially think it's PvZ. Like, every now and then, it's ZVP. Every now and then, Nate, I get worried about ViOlet as ZVP. But then he also, like, always puts me in his comfort zone again. And it's like, damn, he still makes it work. He still has tricks for days. He isn't a one-trick pony. He just doesn't have the Hydra Ling into, oh, I hope my Mass Muta switch work. I'm just going to keep trying, even if my opponent has 16 Phoenixes. Now, he just switches things up immediately, and I really love that. Spawning pool first over here by ViOlet. Now, I'd be surprised by this, and I don't really want to make a bigger fuss out of it than it is. But just the other week, we did see Polt bust out an 11-11 on merry-go-round. That's like the first time in years that I've seen Polt go for an 11-11. So I wonder.
So there's like a couple things, right? This was a pretty economically timed spawning pool, which is the only reason why I'm not entirely sure if it's meant to be aggressively used. But Hyun been doing this a lot. Hyun has actually canceled many a command center in the last month or so of very ambitious Terran players trying to build on the low ground after their Reaper comes out. So maybe there's some potential threat. But the SCV scout from Polt is just his way of saying, no, I actually really don't want to have my command center canceled for free, so I'm going to SCV scout. I'm going to make sure that if you do anything crazy, that I'm aware of it, 100%.
And above all, the Reaper won't head into the wrong direction either, as Polt is going to see the natural from ViOlet going.
ViOlet actually double extractor tricked just to get his queen out and delay his overlord so he could get all those Zerglings and the queen. Very tight economic little move he's trying to make there. But he sees the Lings. Now he knows, and knowing is half the battle.
I don't really... Knowing is half the information.
That's true. And
Apollo.
I'm not even... You say that, and it's like, my brain tries to decode it. It's like, in proper file format.
No.
Please check. I'm like, I don't know, I just don't understand.
Over here, this Reaper we should have a field day dealing with these Zerglings. Of course, Reapers have much quicker movement speed than slow Zerglings do. And especially off creep. It's pretty easy to kite them back and forth. You don't have to be Polt. You guys can actually try this at home. Most strategies you do not want to try at home. But out microing slow Zerglings with a Reaper in a wide open area, I recommend that to everybody.
And if you find that you like Reapers, you can take the, the path of rough and just build 100 of them.
Or Balloon, and you go into an epic Reaper war of 65 against 62 Reapers.
Anything could happen. Man, the Reaper micro is real here. Really battering down on this queen.
3 and 12 HP. This queen is going to drop a creep tumor, which means that it won't have energy to inject. So now this queen is going to have to inject, which means that this queen could be a target.
Yeah, they're just rotating the queens out. That weak one should be removed from the natural.
Yeah, otherwise it's a very obvious target.
Well, he's waiting at the top of the ramp.
He wants to fight Rippers. 3 queens have more DPS than most Terrans expect.
Yeah, I think at this point you just chill at the bottom of the ramp, wait a little bit, because he's gonna... I guess he has another queen that's about to finish in the main, so he actually can keep all 3 here.
7 more drones in the production tab for ViOlet, who we do see is happily injecting. These are his first extractors go down, so this could very well be a standard 1-1 roach, because you know we had a couple of pseudo 1-1 roaches, but if there's one map where a good old standard 1-1 roach
the
is
one
strong,
true 1-1 roach.
Yep, the one true roach. 1-1. The amount of at the minute mark where you expect it.
He's very well prepared for these Reapers trying to jump in. But third one comes in. No one expects the third Reaper. Now he's gonna make it into the main base. The Queen's there. He's like, no, I don't want you to see that I have nothing in here.
Yeah. It's really like, ah,
It's
I have
really?
like nothing to hide. It's like when the police pulls you over. It's like, why are you so nervous now? I don't know.
I'm just nervous because you're the cops, man. I'm not actually. There's no nidus worm here.
I swear, officer, I'm not carrying a roach in my car. 46 drones right now for ViOlet against the 29 SCVs for Polt. He's firing up a couple of Hellions and Vikings as well.
He's already built his safety Marauder too. He's like, I know your tricks, you crazy kids. And yeah, the Evolution Chambers and the Roach Horn coming in. Ye old Polt Viking. And I'm actually, so he's gonna go up to 6 Hellions, which is where I start to get a little bit nervous. If he builds any more.
I really want to see him continue.
Yeah, look at this tech lab, so smart. He's immediately gonna build a tech lab. This is just his way of saying you're not gonna kill me with roaches. That's all he's saying. He's gonna build tanks out of that.
Oh, okay, but he's also producing Marines of this tech lab.
Yeah. Well, Marines, I still think you'd always rather have Marines than Marauders. Marauders are just gonna slow you down. Like, you can build a Marauder every cycle or two, but if you only build Marauders, it's gonna make you need supply depots faster. It's gonna reduce your ability to get upgrades.
All of these Hellions, Nate, are just knocking on the front door. The Roach is not here yet. Good transfuse from downtown.
Yeah,
Ray
nice.
Allen came back as a queen after he retired from basketball.
He's just throwing the transfuses.
Yeah, like it's summertime in a gym, Nate. With all the references. But then key transfuse there. Otherwise, he has 6 Hellions in his natural while the Roaches are not out yet.
Yeah, now he knows.
Now, of course, he's like, okay, cool, please show up again, because this time I can actually kill you. 3 more Roaches on the way. Right now, it's just 9 Roaches.
Bring out your Hellions. Send him home. So, 1 tank's about to finish up. 2 bunkers on the way. And with 3 Marauders that will...
That should do the job.
That should have stims soon. This is doable to an extent, but let's see, how close is this tank? Okay, the tank can actually cover the right side of the wall. Very important. If the Roaches just snipe one depot or like the debris and actually get in, then that one
I'm
tank...
a little bit worried for this tank. Because if the Roaches take down this depot, then it can just swing off the left side and get the tank.
Yeah, but that's going to be like the kill box right there next to those 2 bunkers. I don't think he wants to engage from that angle. I actually think Polt has just about what he needs to defend against this. ViOlet needs to build drones.
It's 21 Roaches. I kind of feel that ViOlet always goes with 21. That's like his magic little number. Because we used to make this
Forever
joke
21 roaches.
that he's building the same amount of Roaches as Moman used to build drones. Moman was, of course, once upon a time at Home Story Cup 3 or 4, the legendary 21 drone Zerg.
Well, let's see now. Oh, yep, there's the 2 tanks wailing on these Roaches. So this is one way to hold it off. Of course, it's delayed his upgrades. He's behind a whole set of upgrades. This is usually why Terran players, we like to be greedy and not build tanks, and that's why we die all the time. So we're like, hey, we think upgrades are more important than holding off Roach Islands. It's true. I still think it's more.
This is going to be nice for ViOlet. It's going to be tricky for Polt to go up to 3 bases. Of course, tank from the high ground will provide some cover. But not everything, you know, you can still have a couple of Roaches over here, picking up a mule, or even dancing back and forth in range of that tank.
The key focus of this build is that he really needs his 3rd base mining now. He needs his 3rd base going, because if he doesn't get his workers there, if he doesn't hold on to this, and the other Roaches are actually coming pretty far back to deal with this 1 Hellion. This 1 Hellion blocking the hatchery has actually allowed him to take his 3rd base with no trouble at all. It just feels funny to think about it like that, but it's true. And as long as he can mine off of his 3rd for a little bit, he's going to have the economy he needs to get his 2-2 upgrades and continue building tanks and medevacs, which is the most important part right now of this game.
Upgrades, just Stim is ready, but soon 1-1 and Combat Shield will finish up. But by the time that I think Polt ever can fight, Nate, I think you mentioned it very well. These 2 upgrades for ViOlet will be ready. So I'm actually not sure, like, what would you say is the best approach here for Polt? Slow and steady wins the race? Just try to go up to at least 170, 180 supply?
Yeah, just try to max out and be more heavy on bio than tanks. Because straight up bio, I can tell you, man, I've
Played games where I managed to actually get max out on bio versus Roach Hydra. And if you spread and have enough medevacs, like,
It's actually almost impossible for the Zerg player to just win when you have like a really good amount of army supply of just Marine, Marauder, Medevac. So, like, ideally, Polt doesn't want to attack because his bioforces don't retreat that well on creep, because Hydralisks on creep move as fast as stimmed Marines.
The Infestation Pit just finished up, so I'm kind of curious to see if ViOlet is going to do something with it.
I think he needs a hive. Like, he could try to kill him with this 2-2 timing, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to work.
Jan has done it though. I've seen Jan pull it off multiple times.
Polt has a lot of tanks though. Polt has more tanks than any Terran player I've seen Hyun actually wreck in the last month with that build.
Good point. Currently on 6 tanks, the 7th tank is on the way. Polt, you really shouldn't try to start dropping too much now. This one medevac, okay, but he has to keep all the other units at home. Polt is going to see the units right now on the left side of the map.
Yeah, moving out is very risky. I think actually he could run in the left side and just snipe off this third. This is one of the things that makes this build so frustrating to play against. Like, actually engaging Polt is the only way that I think he can really throw right here. And he's spreading out nicely. Most of the tanks actually can't fire, but he's going to walk into tank range.
He should just click on the orbital now. Why doesn't he click on the orbital, Knight?
I guess he's probably going to kill it anyway. His Overseer's given vision. He's killing off the siege tanks here. This attack is actually absurdly hard to stop. I honestly fooled myself into believing Polt was going to hold this.
2-2 Roach Hydra will still reign supreme, even if you're Polt and even if you have 6 or 7 tanks. It is still very hard to deal with. This one drop, yes, it's doing some work, but this is a deja vu of Nimbus, I believe it was, where, yeah, a drop is doing damage, but meanwhile,
I think Polt
losing everything at home.
Polt took too conservative a defense to this. What Polt needed to do was actually have all his tanks clumped up together, which seems counterintuitive when you think about the fact that units like Vipers exist in StarCraft 2. But
it was kind of too early for Vipers.
Yeah, exactly. If you have all of your tanks clumped up, and those roaches and hydras start to push in, then suddenly you're like in one volley you're gonna kill like maybe 6 to 7 hydralisks or roaches. But when you have them all spread out like that, it's like one shot here, then they move it out and kill the tank. Next tank, one shot there, and it's not really doing enough to actually kill all the roaches.
And above all, there were a lot of low HP roaches, a lot of low HP hydras, but they didn't die. While if your tanks are clumped up, you don't just deal damage to the units, you actually straight up kill them immediately with a single volley. So
exactly, because he didn't have any he didn't actually have many Marine Marauder, because like you said,
I still think
a medevac.
Even if the tanks would have been in a bad position, it still looks like a pretty difficult hold. Like, it's going to be a difficult hold regardless.
I agree.
Maybe if he pulls SCV in time as well to buy some extra time for like some bunkers, you know, get a lot of unanswered damage from those roaches and hydras that will just go into a bunker that's being repaired. That could potentially work. Either way, it's good news for us, because that means that our final day of this pretty awesome Intel Extreme Masters Toronto qualifier is going to go down to the rubber match. It is going to be played on Catalina. If you guys just joined us, you are welcome. Earlier today, we saw Scarlet and Major advancing through the upper bracket of this qualifier, as we're qualifying 3 players today. Masa has already won the Canadian qualifier a solid week ago or so. Rifkin von Base TV was bringing you guys all these games. It was super fun to watch. In the end, Masa was victorious over Kane, so Masa will already be part of the main event. And now after today, we know that Scarlet and Major will be part of the main event as well. And now after this game, we will know one more player that's guaranteed to participate in the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto.
Is it going to be a Roacher, or is it going to be Polt? ViOlet really likes his roaches.
I think most Zerg players do, Nate. I don't think you can play Zerg without a confessed love for roaches.
I mean,
maybe
like,
Suppy
there's just some
doesn't.
Zergs that are like, you know, like
They really love.
Yeah, they really like
They take roach love to a whole nother level. Is that what you're saying?
Hyun, ViOlet, those guys love roaches. Revival loves roaches. When I look at a player, I'm like, Snoot, this guy like. It's like roaches are okay. I look at Suppy,
Snoot
I'm like,
loves roaches.
Yeah, Snoot likes Swarmhouse more than roaches. He's been cheating on the roaches for a while now.
That's true. I think he's more like in an open relationship with the roaches. Like, he messes around with the Swarmhouse, but in the end of the day...
I can tell you what, these days every Terran's in an open relationship with roaches, it seems.
I'm not even sure what you mean with that. But
so we're on the final map of our best of 5 here. In the left position, we've got a blue Terran player. Can he stop whatever variety of roach build will come this game? From Cooler Master Storm, it is Polt. Just one map win away from a ticket to Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. Same as his opponent in the top right, the Red Zerg, ViOlet.
They've been giving us a really good show, which is super awesome, because often when you have two guys like this, they just make some sort of a mutual agreement, like, hey, you know what, you take the paid slide, you take the seat into the tournament, you take the paid trip, And then I'll just go to the open bracket, and they kind of give us like lackluster games where they don't really care or they don't really try. These two guys have definitely been trying. They've been pushing each other to the limit. It's been a very fun day of StarCraft. I would also like to tell everybody one more time that tomorrow Nate and me will be back as well with WCS America Group C. It's starting at noon Hawaii time, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and midnight for all you Europeans. And it should be a super awesome day, as this very own Terran that we're looking at right now is going to be playing. He will go up against Sejong, so that's a little bit of a rematch of Lone Star Clash and also, of course, of WCS Season 2, WCS Season 2 America Finals last year. That's going to be awesome, and there's Maxset as well, who surprisingly made it to Premier League after defeating Ryong 3-1. And last but not least, I believe Alz is the 4th player in that group, and Alz is, of course, a very established Protoss player himself. Should be a great group. So once again, tomorrow, noon Hawaii time, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and midnight for all you Europeans. Please watch. It's going to be a sick day of WCS America action. Nate's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Unless Nate distracts me too much with his iPad on the way home and something terrible happens, but let's not pretend.
Just depends if there's any StarCraft to watch tonight.
I would be surprised if there is another tournament. This would be tournament number 3 today.
That's the absolute best part about the scheduling for WCS America. We start just late enough that I can watch GSL and then barely go to sleep before we have to cast.
And then when we wake up, we can watch Europe on our way home, on our way to the office.
Yeah, man.
We were able to watch
I feel like we've watched a lot of Bunny games on the rides to work, actually. We played in Challenger, too. We watched his match there.
That is correct. Bunny is, without being aware of it, a passenger in our own car. Like, Bunny, hey, Bunny, we know you very well. You might not know us very well, but we drive to work every day.
We ride with you pretty much every day.
Bunny's like, no, stop. I haven't been to America in ages. What are you guys talking about?
Bunny be rolling.
Anyway, it's a single Reaper this game for Polt. It's making its way into the main base of Catalina. Of course, a lot on the line. It's a best of 1. We started off with a best of 5, then it was a best of 3. Now it's just a single best of 1 for a paid trip to Toronto and a seed into the main event, which is guaranteed prize money, guaranteed WCS points, and above all, just 2 best of 3s and 2 best of 5s away from making it to the grand final of a major tournament. So
That's
important
right.
to just be already in the group stage.
Yeah.
Such a big difference.
It is so much more difficult to play from the open bracket. It's actually crazy. It's kind of the same when these two guys actually qualified for the MLG Anaheim pool play, because the open bracket is probably harder than most actual Premier tournaments in terms of the number of games you have to play and the amount of good players that are there.
That is right, but both of them hold their ground in the pool play, though.
That's true.
Even against guys that made it out of, like for instance, Polt defeated. No, Polt didn't defeat Trap in the group stage. That's wrong.
Yeah, but I think Polt would rather have played series against Illusion and Puck than have to play against Jadong, Bomber, and Leenock.
No, of course you're 100% right, but it's also not to discredit their pool play achievement, because they still played very, very well in group stage. But you're right, it was a massive advantage already being seeded into the groups, and the same will be said for Intel Extreme Masters. This Reaper is dying. It did take a creep tumor with him to the grave, but I'm not sure if I would like to sacrifice my Reaper for a single creep tumor, especially not one that's in the main base.
Yeah, this is the least committed he's made himself to Reapers in this whole series. ViOlet, you know what? I actually have to applaud ViOlet just for being that guy. It's like, look, honestly, I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. I'm good at roaches. It's like, look,
ViOlet is pretty good at most things.
You know, ViOlet, he boots up StarCraft. He's like, hello, my name's ViOlet. I'm a roach addict. I've been building roaches for a couple months now. I can't really stop, but you know what? It works, and honestly, it just feels right.
Been having quite some success with it. My friends tell me to stop. I don't want to stop.
I don't want to stop building roaches. Look,
Hellions will just swing in. So this is kind of a deja vu of King Sejong Station, but I don't think he's going to get 17 drones, but he's getting quite a few. Look at that one Hellion. That one Queen just needs one hit on this one Hellion.
Ouch. For how early these Hellions go in, maybe not 17, but I'd say around 7 is also pretty damn good.
Definitely not bad.
Yeah, I mean, he evens the worker count out a little bit. Whoa, what a fast tank. He actually wants to do Cloak Banshee harass while not dying to the Roach play, and that is ballsy.
But there are Spore Crawlers in both bases.
Yeah, but the Spores can still get, I mean, the Banshee can still get some work done.
True.
Never discounted Banshee.
I wouldn't try. However, those are very quick Spores. I guess that first Banshee got scouted by this Overlord or something.
Yeah, he certainly didn't get into the main base to see it, but this third hatchery then is also kinda borked. Shouldn't be able to hold on to this. The lair is
You think this
done?
hatch is gonna fall?
No. If the second Banshee... I guess the second
hatch
Banshee is a
not
little too
gonna
far.
fall. The queen to save the day. There's transfuse.
I'm just thinking that he's going to bounce between these bases and make things a little bit awkward. But he brought his other queen. He's got actually a surprising number of queens.
He's currently on 5 queens.
5 queens.
Four of them are occupied with his one Banshee.
Yeah, man. Working overtime. You don't want to lose the Banshee.
He has a lot of energy as well, so he could drop a couple of transfuses or just a lot of creep spread.
Now this is nice. Polt's like, he tries to like cruise into the mineral line. He's like, actually, no, there's a support card there too.
He's like, man, I haven't done a really cloak Banshee arrest in a single game so far.
It's
what
actually okay if the Banshees remain active though. Like he should try to actually clean up some creep. As soon as he sees that the roaches are coming out and he can get to work on them, the better. Like once you have like 2 Banshees, you're kind of in that ballpark of actually being able to kill roaches if you focus them down one by one. Which is really all that matters.
Stim is about to finish up. Both engineering bases are going down. It was behind Greg's number 2 and 3 though. Those are the small things that do matter. So we can see the... Oh my god, Nate! What the...
Well, sometimes you must venture boldly into the unknown, Rotterdam.
And Polt could have seen this Overlord, and I wonder, one Banshee falls. That is a massive pick-off, because that Banshee would have pretty much... Well, I guess the Queens could go in the Nidus network as well. Still, though...
Every unit at this point is just
massive.
incredibly important. Like, the Queens are not going to be the biggest threat here. It's the fact that these roaches are going to kill all the add-ons, snipe...
Oh, he's going to spot it.
Things.
He's going to spot it. He
now
clicks on it.
That's a cash money play right there.
Yep. Click, click, click. Supply depot.
Immediately. He immediately puts it there. That is so smart.
And now I think ViOlet has to cancel.
Like,
did he cancel it? No, he didn't cancel it. But
he's like, well, almost. I'll get you someday.
And this Polt looks at his Overlord. He's like, ha!
Wrecked.
Look at this Overlord. He even looks mad. Man.
It's like,
stupid Queens. Stupid Queens. Queens, you had one job. Hide the Nidus network. Oh well. There's still roaches. It's still going to be a little tricky for Polt to go up to 3 bases. Polt is not out of the woods just yet. Scouting it helps a lot. It's a waste of resources right now. It's the second thing I feel with this game that doesn't really go ViOlet's way. But not the end of the world. 2-2 upgrades are on the way. Hydralisk are on the way. Group Spines is on the way. And he still has plenty of opportunity to make his way back into this game. If he is even behind in the first place. Which I would say he's a tiny bit behind Nate. But he's massively ahead in upgrades. It could just be another 2-2 roach timing. This could just be a copy of Merry-Go-Round.
Yep. And now that there's a Viking out, there's no surprise Nidus worms this game, which is pretty much all he needs. The tanks are moving down. This is an opportunity to snipe some stuff. Going for a missile turret. Okay, it's nice. Marauders are going to push the rest of this back, though. And he's going to follow up with that Hydralisk play again. But honestly, I think what he should have done is just gone straight for the infestation pit if he realizes how many siege tanks there are.
Don't you think?
I mean,
he's gonna do the same thing as last game.
I don't want to believe that it's gonna. His third base is actually so exposed. I guess this is one of the reasons why I like this map for Roach Hydra.
But I mean, like the roaches only have 2 choices or 2 options.
Well, the thing is, they just go wherever the tanks aren't. If the tanks are this spread out, then it doesn't matter that there are tanks because they're in an area where he's going to be defending nothing. He's defending a choke point, but he doesn't have to attack there. His target isn't even in that zone.
Spy units are doing some work. Got a Queen for the FS. Push the creep back a little bit. There is a Banshee. Paul's like, hey, this is my Viking. I always get 3, 4, 5 Overlord kills. What's happening over here? This Roach is realizing that he's been guarding the wrong base. And that base will not be taken.
Like, there's no 30 here, guys.
Guys, let me just join up with the rest of you. It's not fun.
I want to hang with the cool kids.
Alright, so there's 31 Hydralisk. 31 Hydralisk against 7 siege tanks. Nate, do you believe? 2-2 upgrades are about to finish up. Last game, as soon as it was ready, ViOlet triggered it.
If he attacks, you know what I think.
You think Polt's gonna? I think Polt's gonna hold this time.
It's so hard to call. Yeah, he's not gonna hold if he starts losing units this early, because now he has to start stimming again.
I think he's gonna hold.
This is the best possible defense position that Polt could have.
This is it, guys. The winner will get a seat into the Intox Remasters main event. This is a massive commitment on either side. It seems like the tanks are doing the damage this time, though, Nate. Yeah. I think Polt's gonna hold.
This is what happens when so many of the tanks are actually able to fire at once.
Yep.
Like, he can actually fight with all of his siege tanks shooting at the same time. And the worst part is he lost all the Hydras. The Roaches are super cheap. The Hydras are not. There's no discount price on Hydralisks.
Look at the units lost resource tab. It's 8,481 resources lost for ViOlet, only 4,325 for Polt. Phenomenal hold by Polt, Nate, and I really think this makes you show that everything you said at the end of merry-go-round was 100% spot on. The tanks were a little too defensive, the tanks were a little too spread out, and yes, the tanks did a lot of damage, but they didn't kill units. This time, every single volley, units did die. Polt still has to be a tiny bit careful, as there was a remax of 25-30 roaches, but needless to say, after defending that push, he's putting himself in a good position. I wouldn't want to fight before I had 2-2 though, if I was Polt, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, roaches can still get a lot done. Still pretty good. Wow, that tank. His life flashed before his eyes.
Yeah, he just lit up another cigarette in the tank.
I like that he's just going to push up towards the main here, because rather than push across all this creep, he's going to try to siege the main and just drop inside his base, which is pretty smart. Cleaning up this creep is nice too. It's going to make flanking him a little bit more difficult. Some roaches and hydras fight from the high ground.
And you know life is good as a Terran player when you're up in supply and you have Bile tank against Roach Hydra and there are no Vipers on the map. There is no sign at all, no possibility of Brute Lords. There is not a whole lot that can go wrong unless all your tanks are suddenly super exposed. Polt is actually... Polt? Polt?
Oh, he's moving everything. Tanks are sieging, but the Bio's not here. Wow, he's just going to turn around and lose a bunch of roaches. Okay. Well, that's frustrating. He's actually reaching that point where he can start to fight these Marines against the Roach Hydra. The only problem is a lot of his medevacs are low on energy, but like, give it a minute for these bad boys to fill up with that juice. They're going to be good to go.
Court Command Center is flying to his own location as well, and this is about it, I feel. I mean, ViOlet is still at 183 supply, so if Polt would make a crucial mistake, then anything is possible. But normally, Nate, this is Polt's game to lose. The units lost resource tab really tells the tale of this story. 6,000 resource differential in an 18-minute game. That's massive. Suddenly a Nidus network goes down in the natural. Why not? Yeah. Try to force a base trade, I guess, is your best case scenario when you're down in supply.
It looks like this Nidus
Polt thinks,
finish,
yeah, Polt thinks it's an Overlord, I guess. Because when you look at your the minimap, it's like, yeah, that's an Overlord.
I still think there's actually too much for
he can
Polt.
just kill the Nidus network.
Yeah, now Polt can move his army into the base of ViOlet, and yeah.
I don't know, ViOlet. This isn't looking all that good for your Roaches and Hydras.
I think Polt's he's played this out super well. And now that he has an upgraded, you know, the upgrades were evened out a little while ago, but now that he's going to soon have an upgrade advantage, I don't think he can actually lose this anymore.
Nah, he did kill a lot of SFVs there, so it was something. ViOlet is trying to find a window of opportunity, and
without a high, can't attack this number of tanks though. Like, yes, you'd have to actually move command his tanks into the Roach Hydra.
Exactly, unless Polt makes a very big mistake, unsieges everything, and then they get all exposed and everything dies, and then the Hydra's get in range of the medevac. This might be an okay engagement over here for ViOlet. There's a lot of the forces from Polt were not here. So if ViOlet wants to win this game, he's going to have to absolutely crush this army. I think he is
that actually wasn't a terrible start to that engagement for ViOlet. Polt has retained,
that was not
however,
even his real army.
That wasn't even my final army.
Not even his final form. Dude, be careful with those medevacs as the reinforcements have arrived.
See, this Derpine medevac count is actually like the key to beating this, because then you just the raw damage output is just so much faster for the Bile. There's no medevacs for Hydralisks. Not unless you're
Thank God.
Not unless you're playing 2v2s. I guess as a Protoss, you're a lot more scared about that.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody in the world who I can possibly thank for the fact there are no medevacs for Hydras, because if that was the case, Nate, I don't think we'd see anything else than ZVZ.
Hydras all day, every day.
Hydra with ultra heal from blue medevacs.
Oh God!
They can actually tank Colossus focus.
There's got to change things with the army, but Polt is aware enough to see when the opportunity rises, and even this fight,
3-3 is ready.
Yep, these Marines are just going to start to mow it down. And he's like, can I actually take this fight? He's like, I'm not sure. He's like, the Hydra's doing lots of damage, but I've got a medevac healing almost every single Marine.
Look at this, it's healing range from Warcraft 3.
Yeah, man.
Beautiful spell. Dota copied it in the original Warcraft 3 spell.
Oh, the tanks are on siege. This is it. ViOlet's going to try to seize his opportunity right now, but the Hydras have all died. The Roaches are falling as well. He's going to be able to pick off all of the siege tanks. However, his bank is run dry.
Too much DPS.
Going to Toronto.
Too much DPS in that final Terran army. Great play by Polt, great play by ViOlet as well. Overall, very entertaining series, but this indeed does mean that we have two Terrans and a Zerg player advancing out of today's qualifier, the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto North America qualifier. Unfortunately for ViOlet, he falls short in the final round by 1 game. I still hope that we'll see him in Toronto, because I would love to see him make the journey and try his luck in the open bracket, which is going to be tough. There is a chance that it will even be tougher than the bracket that he had to go through today. But he played well, and you know, in a weird way, you could say that ViOlet got a little bit unfortunate that Major steamrolled Polt, because I think ViOlet has a better shot against Major than he has against Polt.
ViOlet's got a great track record against Major too. Just thinking about their games that they played last season of WCS America. His Ro2a style worked much better against Major.
And Battlegrounds North America.
And Battlegrounds North America.
Either way, that is pretty much going to be it for us. Let's just take a final look at the bracket of today, as we had so many cool games. We had a lot of interesting results as well. Polt started off defeating EJK, then Xenocider, but lost against Major. But as we know, if he had a lower bracket, he was still able to make it. Huck had a pretty good run himself. Nate made it very far. The series against Major didn't go that well, but he definitely redeemed himself afterwards with a good series against Select. Scarlet had a phenomenal run, playing all 3 matchups just like Major. I think that's super impressive, showing us what they are made of, both Scarlet and Major, just playing awesome. Take a look at our lower bracket as well, as of course we had a lower bracket as it was double IEM. The W stand for walk over victories, as a few players did not show up today and we didn't want to list it as a 2-0. However, you know, Huck having a good run, still defeating a couple of good players, Nate, but unfortunately for him, falling to ViOlet in the end. That rivalry is continuing. I'm pretty sure that it will continue for a little while further. Just a really cool tournament today, Nate. A fun day of StarCraft 2 after an awesome tournament in Europe. What more can we ask for?
Not much. Not much. Really cool games, guys, and we kind of mentioned this a few times. So IEM Toronto, in case you're curious, is going to be happening towards the end of the month, I believe, the weekend of August 28th, and that's going to be in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
Check it out. Come hang out. I believe the tickets going to be held at the Toronto Game Expo or Fan Expo. So
it's going to be such a cool
It's going to be cool.
We don't like, it's one of those tournaments where we don't even have to be like, guys, come out, because I know the Canadians will come out.
Yeah.
They always did, and they always want to have more events. I think a lot of people on Reddit were already super stoked. And it's one of those tournaments where even like people that haven't really played a whole lot of StarCraft, unless you're like, hey, an awesome StarCraft tournament in Toronto. That's what they did last season with WCS. I think I met so many Canadians who said like, you know, I'm not even playing StarCraft that much anymore, but I still love watching it, and I definitely want to go to this. Like, I think IEM Toronto is going to be badass, but we'll see how it turns out. I have a good feeling about it, though. However, if you want to show up in Toronto in style, you guys should take a look at the ESL shop. You guys can order a couple of fancy T-shirts. You can show us that the carry only. No, that's League. That's League. That's Dota.
Why do you know what that is?
I've played a lot of Han and Dota in my days, Nate.
Well, and you can also get your 6-pool shirts, your
4-gate
shirts.
Or your White Rush shirt.
Your White Rush shirts.
I have that White Rush shirt, actually. But I washed it too. Like I actually tried to wash my clothes myself once, and it went bad. So now my White Rush shirt is a little small.
Oh.
I think I washed it a little too hot. I messed it up. So maybe I should order a new White Rush shirt.
Cold wash is the way to go, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very experienced washer when it comes to clothes. Anyways, it was a very fun day of StarCraft 2. Like we said many times, we'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, for a brand new day of WCS America action. After that, 2 more days of WCS America. And then Thursday, Friday, no, Thursday, nothing. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be Red Bull Battlegrounds Global. That's going to be super fun. So we have a super fun week of StarCraft 2 ahead of us. The week afterwards is going to be just as fun. So we want to thank everybody for watching. Thank everybody for your tweets. #IEM. We're going to go over it while we're on our little commute on the way home. Say that, commute?
Our commute.
A little 50-mile
little journey.
A little 50-mile journey
Adventure
home.
Quest.
And Nate reads up all the tweets while I'm driving and singing songs and turning Nate into a rapper. Nate knows a surprising amount of rap songs by now.
Can't remember them and flow together. You know what it is.
You know what it is. Hopefully you guys know what it is as well. Thank you guys, everyone, for watching. Of course, be stoked for IEM Toronto, but I'm sure you are all. And make sure to tune in for WCS America tomorrow. And of course, make sure to like facebook.com/IEM and twitter.com/IEM. Nate, I'm going to give you the final words because I've been rambling on for way too long.
See you guys for WCS tomorrow. Stay fly and have a nice night.
Bye.